I'd like to finish Chapter 1 by discussing a couple more economics terms: positive economics, or positive statements in economics, and normative economics, or normative statements, or sometimes we say positive analysis and normative analysis. So positive analysis, or positive economics, is about trying to describe the world as it is. This causes this. So an example would be, let's say if we add a new tax on alcohol in the Commonwealth of Virginia, another $1 per gallon of alcohol. That would be a certain amount for spirits, depending on how high the proof was. That would translate in a certain amount for each bottle of wine and a certain amount for each six-pack of beer. But effectively, we increase the $1 per gallon of alcohol. Positive economics would say this will lead the price of wine to go up this amount, or the price of hard liquor, spirits, to go up by this amount. We'll see later in the course that the actual price of the product does not go up by the full amount of the tax, that the amount the consumers spend goes up, and the amount the producers receive goes down. So actually, part of this tax will be borne by the buyers, part by the sellers. Positive economics would also be a claim about how this increased tax would reduce the consumption of alcohol. Beer consumption would go down by this amount, or wine consumption would go down by a certain amount. We could go even a step further and say this tax would cause drunk driving deaths to go down by a certain number, because with less alcohol being drunk, that would lead to less drunk driving and fewer accidents. We could go even further. Another example of positive economics or positive analysis would be to claim that this tax would reduce sexually transmitted diseases by a certain amount, because there would be fewer people getting drunk at parties and making bad decisions, unprotected sex, or sex that was undesired, and fewer negative consequences. That's all positive economics. The tax causes these outcomes to change. This causes this. Now, normative economics, or normative statements, normative analysis would be to say, we should raise the tax by $1 per gallon of effective alcohol because we think the benefits of more tax revenue for the Commonwealth of Virginia, fewer drunk driving accidents, fewer sexually transmitted diseases, outweighs the costs. And what are the costs? Well, there'll be less consumption of alcohol. People will have less wine with their dinners, enjoy their dinners a little bit less. Parties in some situations will be a little less fun, or there'll be fewer parties. There is a cost here. So there are benefits and there are costs. Now, normative analysis requires us to put values on these costs and benefits. What is the social benefit of one fewer case of gonorrhea, or one fewer person dying from drunk driving? What is the cost to not having a glass of wine with your dinner? Now, we can make assumptions, and we could even say they're reasonable assumptions to try to identify these costs and benefits, but we can't scientifically prove that every single person enjoys their meal 25 cents or $1 less because they're not having a glass of wine. Obviously, you have to pay for the wine, but you get benefits above and beyond the cost of the wine. That's why you buy the wine for your meal. So there are extra assumptions required to make normative statements, and we might agree they're reasonable assumptions, but you can't actually prove them. So we require extra assumptions to make normative statements. We will make normative statements in this course later on. We'll talk about the costs and benefits of tariffs and the costs and benefits of pollution and so forth. And a lot of economics is trying to claim we should do this. But there are extra assumptions involved. We want to remind ourselves that there are extra assumptions involved, and those assumptions can't actually be proven. We might think they're reasonable, but it's a different animal than a positive statement, which is just a cause and effect statement.